So, you might think the biggest conflicts, the really big ones in history, are, political or economic.
Right, that's the surface level.
Exactly. But our sources, they point to something, well, deeper. An unseen war fought inside the human psyche.
The real battlefield.
Yeah. So today, we're doing a deep dive. We'll look at ancient wisdom, modern psychology, even pop culture, to understand these cycles: supremacy, healing,
Yeah.
wholeness.
It's about connecting the dots, really.
Totally. Think of it as like a shortcut to getting the bigger picture. Expect some surprising connections, maybe some aha moments.
Definitely. So this battlefield within ancient traditions like theosophy, Hermeticism, they saw humans as multi-layered, like a mini-universe, a microcosm.
Okay.
And this unseen war, it's basically the struggle for Hermanus, it's the higher mind to ascend, to connect with the spiritual soul, Booty.
Instead of being pulled down.
Exactly. Pulled down by what they called kama, our sort of animal desires, the lower stuff. That's the core conflict is happening inside all of us.
And this internal battle, it doesn't stay internal, does it? Our sources talk about the root races idea in theosophy.
Ah, yes. A description of humanity's spiritual evolution over vast ages.
But, well, in the 19th century, it got seriously tangled up with racial theories, didn't it? Explicitly linking Aryan groups, supposedly superior, to others deemed inferior.
A really tragic distortion, and of course, later twisted by groups like the Nazis. It's a chilling example.
Of what happens when spiritual ideas get corrupted by what the sources call a stunted soul.
Precisely. A consciousness trapped in those lower principles, that kama principle. Weaponizing spirituality for, well, earthly power.
It really makes you ask, how do we stop that? How do we keep spiritual teachings from being misused like that?
It's the critical question. And this stunted soul idea, it's not just abstract philosophy. You see it in things like intergenerational trauma.
Like the Yehuda study on Holocaust survivors' children.
Exactly, a landmark study. It showed trauma can be passed down psychologically, maybe even biologically, through epigenetics. It's almost like karma made visible.
Hurt people hurt people.
That ancient idea, yeah. The cycle repeating itself.
And then there's the messenger archetype. So important in history, but also perilous.
Very much so. Look at the Theosophical Society itself. After Blavatsky died, big splits happened, leaders fighting over who had the true connection to the masters.
Shows the danger when spiritual authority gets focused on just one person.
Right.
Especially one you can't verify.
Definitely. Which makes Jiddu Krishnamurti so fascinating.
Right, groomed to be the world teacher.
And then he just walked away, dissolved the whole organization built for him, famously said, "Truth is a pathless land."
Meaning you find it yourself. The teacher ultimately points you back inwards.
Exactly. The opposite of the shadow messengers. People like William Dudley Pelley, the American fascist, mixing spiritualism and white supremacy.
Or even Rasputin.
Or
Had that whole sinning to find redemption idea.
Yeah. Classic examples of the lower self, the ego, hijacking spiritual language for its own gratification, for prejudice.
It's a powerful warning. And you see echoes today, don't you? This unseen war manifesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Like maybe Kanye West. A kind of modern parable. Immense creative talent, but
Yeah.
untempered by wisdom, leading to that collapse, the anti-Semitism.
A tragic example of an unintegrated ego projecting inner conflict outwards. It's devastating.
And even in culture, like that Kendrick Lamar versus Drake feud. Kendrick calling Drake a colonizer.
Right. It taps into this deep cultural battle, doesn't it? Authenticity versus commercialism. You could even see it through an ancient Egyptian lens. Mat truth, order versus Isfet chaos, injustice.
So it forces us to ask, what's art for? Is it about truth or just profit?
Big questions. So where does this leave us? How do we heal?
Well, the sources point towards stewardship.
Stewardship, okay, like Gandhi.
Yeah, Mahatma Gandhi's Satyagraha. Truth force. Nonviolent resistance as an inner spiritual battle fought externally.
Refusing to mirror the violence, and Martin Luther King Jr. building on that with the beloved community.
Aiming for reconciliation, not just victory.
Yeah.
Even for the oppressor.
And Malcolm X, his transformation after the Hajj. From racial division to, well, universal brotherhood. That's gnosis, direct experience, shattering old ideas.
Incredible examples. And even something practical, like the Black Panther Party's survival programs. Free breakfast for kids.
Revolutionary acts of what our sources call sovereign care, addressing real needs. That kind of compassion is a direct threat to systems built on supremacy.
It really is. It embodies that stewardship idea.
So the path forward, it seems, involves embodying this paradoxical figure, the Pharaoh steward.
Power wielded through service, strength and humility, like the shepherd and the lamb combined.
Exactly. Using influence, resources, not for yourself, but for the community's well-being, both material and spiritual.
And the core idea is healing the world starts with healing ourselves, navigating that inner war.
It has to. And it's fascinating, isn't it? The most revolutionary thing a steward can do, according to this view,
It's just genuinely care for people, provide for them.
yeah, and any system based on supremacy will see that simple act of love as an act of war.
Powerful thought. It really makes you reflect. What stands out to you in all this? And maybe, how could you start acting as a steward right here?